Hey guys, welcome back to the classroom, where you, me, and my trusty whiteboard go through matters of the body, mind, heart, and spirit in a relatively easy to understand format. My name is Dr. Roshan Ramnarayan, and class is in session. So today, a follow-up from the previous day's lecture, we're going to talk about a really, really important lecture today in the sense of how can I lose weight. So there is an entire industry built to answer this one question: how can I lose weight? And today I'm going to say to you that there isn't an easy way. I know there are a couple of injections that you can take to do it. There's surgery that can be done. But I'm talking to the average guy. I'm talking to the person who is there wondering how they can lose their little belly, how they can film up their thighs, all of those things. And I'm here to say to you today that there is, I guess it's a matter of how you look at it, because I was going to say that there is no easy way. But for me, for someone who really wants to and is willing to do the work, it's actually not hard. And I can say to you literally in 2 minutes how to lose weight. That's guaranteed to help you to lose weight. And let that be the end of the lecture. But as we all know, actually executing it is very hard. We all know we have to eat well and exercise and all that good stuff. But if you'll allow me to, let me flesh it out a little bit more. So in our previous lectures, we talked about things that we can't change as to why we gain weight, things that we can change but not directly, and things that we can change directly. So let's talk about things that we can change directly. And to me, the most important thing that we have to do to lose weight is our diet. We have to eat well. The challenge that we all have is that there is so much conflicting evidence as to what this phrase means. What does eating well means? And to me, I'll put it very plainly and simply: little flour, little sugar. And I promise you, I'm not against any of these industries. But again, based on my previous lecture about the things that we can't control directly, remember there were 3 hormones. There were hormones that we were talking about: insulin, cortisol, and adrenaline. And I paired these 2 together because they were the stress hormones. So the thing is, with these 2 things, I'll actually put a red line here just to emphasize it. With flour and sugar, it increases insulin. That's plain and simple. I often joke with patients and I tell them, depending on your flour and sugar intake, you stop flour and sugar for a month totally and you'll drop like 5 pounds without doing anything else. You might drop even more depending on the amount of intake, because again, as a regular Trini, doubles for breakfast, macaroni pie and stew chicken for lunch, there's a muffin in the office, we have a bagel sometimes, we have crackers to go home with, filled with guava jelly or whatever the case may be. There's one with guava, there's one with peanut butter, there's one with cheese, different crackers to go home with. At night it's roti, maybe Cricks and Milo, whatever the case may be. And I use Milo not for that particular brand, but that's what we call any chocolatey drink in Trinidad. And so for me, in Trinidad, we have a high flour and a high sugar diet. As a result of that, we all have high levels of insulin bubbling in our blood. And like I said before in a previous lecture, let me write it again, just for emphasis sake. This is the hormone of storage. And again, our abdominal fat isn't meant to be bad. This is what saved us. This is what saved our ancestors over many, many years ago when there was famine and drought and scarcity. Our abdominal fat is what saved us. The challenge is that we live in a society of plenty at this point, for the most part. As a result of that, the hormone that helped us to survive as a species is now affecting us because there's the wrong things to eat, unfortunately. So this here is the reason why, one of the big things. What to eat instead? You can have complex carbohydrates because the sort of sugar spike is much less with complex carbohydrates. So, so some people say starch is bad, but I see starch as being okay because with starch, it's thousands of molecules big. And to be able to digest starch, you have to really digest it down in small bits. So you can have some complex carbohydrates, you can have lean protein, and good quality fats. And once you have good quality fats, and you have lean protein, you're fully satiated in that regard. So the diet stuff, and again, it goes without saying, we have to cut out the snacks, we have to cut out when I say snacks, the processed food, we have to cut out the snacking in between. I would even recommend some intermittent fasting. And again, the reason why this will help is because as we fast, and I do have an intermittent fasting video that you can check out as to how to do it. But as we fast, because we're not eating anything, our blood sugar levels drop, and as a result of that, our insulin levels begin to go down lower as well. The less insulin we have is the less storage that we do. And again, just like our ancestors from long ago, if we eat less, we use from our storage. That's the idea. So diet is one of the big things. I would say 80 to 90% of what we can do to help us to lose weight. Obviously, what people talk about next is exercise. Now, for me, diet is more important because we can exercise intensely and then go and eat silly food after, and we don't really get much gains in that regard. So, exercise to me is important, don't get me wrong, for our cardiovascular health, our mental health, our muscle strength, our core. Exercise is extremely important. But when it comes to weight loss, it's not as important as diet. And so, because again, when I ask patients in my office, hey, what you going to do to lose weight? Well, I'm going to take a walk around the savannah. I may take a little jog on the block. That's their first answer. It's not, I'm going to cut down flour and sugar. So my hope is by you guys understanding how we gain weight, you all will be able to change how you lose weight in that regard. The best form of exercise to lose weight, at least for me personally, what I've seen, is something called HIIT. High Intensity Interval Training. What that means is that you're exercising intensely for a short interval in that regard. So like, let's say for instance, we're doing push-ups. You do as much push-ups as you can do in 1 minute, and then you rest for 15 seconds. Do as much push-ups as you can do in 1 minute, and then rest for 15 seconds. So that's high intense intervals over a period of time. The reason why this really helps to lose weight is because this actually increases our metabolism. This word metabolism is a sort of buzzword. We use this all the time. And again, I realize that not a lot of people understand metabolism. Our metabolism is just the sum total of all the biochemical reactions going on in our body. That's really what metabolism is. And so the thing is, as we do these high intensity exercises, our metabolism actually ramps up for approximately, I saw one study saying approximately 72 hours after our metabolism increases So our muscles are metabolically active. Our blood flows better. For one study I saw said up to 72 hours after that. So as compared to what's called steady state cardio, which is basically running, long distance running. So this is high intervals, high intensity for short bursts. This one here is you're running at the same pace for a long period of time. This is excellent for your cardiovascular health. You can most certainly lose weight, but this one might not be as effective as the other one. So, and then obviously weightlifting or resistance training also helps as well. Why? I'll tell you why. It's really cool. Resistance training. The reason why resistance training helps because it builds muscle. And one of the tissue that is most, I'll write it here, mitochondria. The mitochondria, anyone who have done Form 5 biology will know, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And muscle tissue is one of the densest mitochondrially. And so here's how this works. As we grow muscle through resistance training, we have more mitochondria. And because we have more mitochondria, we have more powerhouses to burn our stored fuel. That's how it works. We actually have the ability to burn off our stores much quicker. So this is how resistance training helps us to lose weight. The 3 forms of exercises. My advice for beginners is steady state cardio. Whether we start with walking, we start with jogging, or we start with a light run, that's my advice for beginners. Even something as simple as aquatherapy or aqua aerobics, where we do resistance training in the pool, I would recommend for seniors or anyone with injuries because it's zero impact on the joints. And then as our cardiovascular health increases, we try the other exercises. And so diet, exercise, and then finally, I'll go on this side here, decrease stress. Now, I know some people will laugh because, if this was easy, we would all do it. But here's the thing. There are tools that we can use. There are ways in which we can decrease stress. But it's just a matter of recognizing the importance of it. Show of hands, how many of you all, the weekend that went by, went to bed late? Right? I suspect a majority of you. I can't see. Maybe leave it on in comments to let me know how many of you all went to bed late. And by going to bed late, we stress out ourselves. There's numerous studies upon studies, meta-analyses, double-blind studies, all of these things to show that shift workers, for instance, suffer from increased weight. They suffer from increased risks of heart attack, diabetes, stroke, all of these things. Why? Because they don't sleep well. And by not sleeping well, they're constantly in a state of stress. So one of the best things we can do to reduce stress is to sleep better. And again, I did a video on this a couple of weeks ago on sleeping better. And even to stress less, I did a video on de-stressing and unwinding. So you can check those out as well in an attempt to help you to lose weight. So because again, as we sleep better and as we stress less, the stress hormones decrease. So we can sleep better as we exercise. Exercise is a double-edged sword, guys, because if we exercise too much, it can lead to excess amounts of these hormones in our blood. So we have to take it slow and ramp it up. That's how I see it. So we have to sleep better. We can meditate. We can do breathing exercises. We can do shadow work. And there's a video I did on this one. And the list goes on and on and on. And based on each of our unique life situations, it's just a couple minutes of thought would be able to help us to determine what we need to do personally to reduce our stress levels. Because the thing is, a lot of the times we feel powerless. Or the boss is too much. I had a young man come to my office today who works till 12 midnight, even though he's only contracted to work 8 hours a day. But because he feels bad and because his boss basically guilts him into working so late, he works at a time and he's destroying his health. And so a lot of times we feel powerless. But guys, this is our health that we're talking about. This is our lives that we're talking about. Take our health and take our lives into our own hands. And so by reducing our stress levels, and I say to people all the time, doing this is a two-pronged approach. Stop doing things that make us put on weight and start doing things that make us lose weight. stop doing things that make us put on weight and start doing things that help us to lose weight. So and that holds true for any objective that you like to achieve. So to achieve less stress, stop doing things that stress us out, start doing things that help us to de-stress. So I'll leave you guys with that. So the thing is, guys, this is a fairly simple but yet very, very, very important way on how to lose weight. And my hope is by the end of this lecture you understand why we put on weight for and exactly how is it that we can do it. I advise people all the time, in order to come down on the flour and sugar, take your time. Because it's all the good things in life have these things. But you have to understand what the objective is. And if this is your objective, then slowly over time decrease this. Because losing weight is not a race. I've always found that people who lose weight quickly, they tend to do what's called yo-yoing. So they will drop weight quickly and then they will put back on weight, they will drop weight and they yo-yo like that. For me, anything that is permanent, it takes time. It takes time and effort and discipline. So my hope is, guys, you all will understand how to lose weight exactly. You understand the biochemistry behind it, and also some of the habits and behaviors that we need to have in order to lose weight. So with that being said, if there's any questions or concerns, shoot me a comment. And as always, if there's anything that you'd like to see here, any topic that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments as well. So that being said, guys, catch you guys in the next classroom. Class dismissed.